just taken a whole life of itself, I feel, and has become a really different Hathi. And for me today, I would say it's any piece of content, it's any piece of narrative, which kind of, it's the narrative that the brand's building, and anything that gets the people to talk about you. When there is a machine behind it, and there is a whole science, and there's a whole system that that a person, an individual, or a brand, or a corporate entity is following, that entire mechanism of doing, of getting people to talk about your brand, is PR. So yeah, conversation creation is basically what to me now is PR. And it's not limited to akhbar, it's not limited to magazines, it's not limited to television, it's everywhere, any space. And with digital, to like every platform, that all falls under the ambit of PR.
Right. So it has kind of evolved, with the whole digital evolution.
Majorly.
So and then what would you say is the because in Pakistan, I think abroad also, everybody wants press coverage. Everybody wants to be in a magazine or on a blog or on a website, right? So how important do you think is press coverage, in any form, for the success of a small business or a startup in today's world?
So, see, like I said right in the beginning, because the narrative has changed so drastically, it's not all about the press per se. It's not about that piece of newspaper clipping. Because of the whole dynamics of communication changing, even newspapers have kind of evolved to become more digitally savvy. There's more space on the digital sphere. There's more conversation. And also because the consumer has become so about now, most of the conversations are anyways like, newspaper to kal ki khabar de raha hota hai. So it's not about press clippings. It's all about it's all about earning a media space, more than just getting a press clipping. And that is extremely critical. For a fresh business, for a new business, that's in terms of calculations and everything, we take advertising value and all these things to just give it a equivalency. But in real time terms, it is authentic people talking about you. That is how the word of mouth, like as far back as we go, word of mouth is how people have always picked up things. And even today, look at us individually as well as examples. हम किसी चीज के बारे में भी through word of mouth ही usually embrace करते हैं ना, कि यार मुझे ये चीज करनी है, how do I do it? I ask my circle of friends or people I trust, or people I believe to be an expert in that particular capacity, and I would take their word. Like if I want to buy a fridge, I'd go to someone who knows about these things, and I'd be like, where do I get it from? I'd do my research, I'd go online, do my price comparisons. So the buying process, and I'm talking about a really basic product like a fridge or a fryer, but then with startup culture, you're actually also selling an idea. So that is also, so at that time when you're selling an idea, so the press coverage or media share of mind becomes much more important, because at that time you're actually trying to sell that whole idea. So and when you get it done through a third party, it becomes more authentic, because the third party has actually translated it to a layman's terminology. Because बहुत टाइम पे ये होता है कि क्योंकि हम इतने उस स्टार्टअप में उस आइडिया में इतने मैशअप हो चुके होते हैं कि we actually forget how the average Joe on the street is going to embrace my idea, or how they're going to get my idea, or how does this idea fit into their daily life. And that is where PR kind of comes into play and makes it about just relatable for them and consumable content for them.
Right. So, and there's a lot of difference between obviously budgets make a lot of difference. You can add a lot of things. If you have a bigger budget, you can have a lot more visibility in a reputable media if you have a higher budget. And I think that a lot of the times startups or smaller organizations, they have these bigger aspirations, because they look at the bigger organizations media campaigns or ads, or like their PR campaigns. So they have their these bigger aspirations that kind of the thing that they can't do any campaign with a limited budget, right? So
Hmm.
what would be your take on that? We'll go in more detail, on this further, but what would be your initial take on this?
My initial take is कि देखो, when you're starting a startup, you're anyways like bootstrapped, right? You're working in this limited space and a limited silo with limited budgets, with limited numbers, and the only thing that will make yours, and you're looking for funding, you're looking for people to embrace your idea, so you're looking for users, you're looking for all those things at that time. I think the PR leg becomes a low hanging fruit. So while you aspire to do all those big, really crazy things like running an ad on the TV and having billboards out on the street, really, to be very, very honest, a lot of times really good ideas have just grown on PR and word of mouth. It's just because they have been just really good ideas, and that's what a startup is doing. The first thing they're selling is an idea. So I think that's where you kind of like need to um, take a step back and calm down and be like, and the startup is not just promoting an idea. There is a person who's behind that idea as well. When the startup is coming into a space, that founder, that person, so that person also needs that limelight to be able to sell that idea and to be able to say that where they came up, like, so behind every light bulb there's maybe an Albert Einstein. So that's the kind of thought process we need to kind of work with, maybe, in my head, to me.
Right. And over the period of years, we've had a lot of discussions about earned media and paid media, and all the
Yeah,
different kinds that and like you said before, that media or PR has evolved, right? It's not
yeah,
just
no,
about the paid campaigns that you do. So
yeah.
in your observation over the years, how well do you think people or companies or organizations use all these different kinds of media? I know that people want to be on TV, or their biggest aspiration is to be in a magazine, but they probably don't realize that it's kind of short lived, or the impact on sales of this appearance would probably be not
A lot
very
of
long
times,
term, right?
yeah,
so
so a
so
lot
how
of
does
times.
one use this, like, holistically, all of these three things combined?
So a lot of times it's just literally bucket lists and checklists, and a lot of times this is the kind of conversation we have with our clients as well. Okay, will this being on this media is where is your consumer sitting? That's the first question. Like, for example, if you're a tech product, your consumer is probably sitting on the digital space, and the early users are probably also sitting are those who are early adapters of a digital technology. So, like, in terms of my battle always is that कि जब आपके limited ही budgets हैं, तो don't go for things that make you feel good कि oh, I'm here, right? Like, just that should not be your objective. When you have tons and tons of money, go ahead, do it,
Yeah.
no worries, we will execute it to you. But there's only a certain level of that battle we can find, and sometimes we just take a step back. And we, like, if a client is going to come to us and say कि हमें इन 5 platforms पे जाना है, अब हमारा अक्सर argument उनसे यही होता है कि भाई इन 5 platforms पे, for example, you're a men's product and these 5 platforms is all women centric. So why would you want to waste your money or effort, even when you're sending a trial product or giving a code, for example, to try your product, that's an investment, that's a cost going out of your budgets. That's money that's going to hit your pocket. So why would you go and do that? Like, like, it sometimes I feel brands like Red Bull are really smart. They always think laterally. They always try to come up and locate people. So yes, it's a little bit more effort to find the right influencer to talk about your brand, but then they locate these off the cuff people to create the conversation. And those off the cuff people is who their target market is sitting with. So it just becomes more, and then what ends up happening is that association or that collaboration is more cost effective. And in addition to being more cost effective, it gets more talk also. And talk is all PR, what PR is all about. So you, like, you just need to stop thinking like, okay, follow the herd mentality is the first thing we need to kind of stop. As marketeers, as communication professionals, the moment we start doing that, and start thinking, okay, मेरी अगर ये प्रोडक्ट है और इसके बारे में मुझे ये लोग चाहिए, तो मुझे बात ही सिर्फ इनसे करनी चाहिए ना, फिर और सबको तो मैं एलिमिनेट कर दूं. So that just simplifies the process. Like for example, if I'm selling a shaving product or a beard product, then it's for men. So if it's a men's product, then to talking to anyone where there are too many women is not my platform. And then no matter how good it feels to look or be seen on that platform, this is not my platform. You have to kind of accept that with a pinch of salt.
Yeah. Relevance, it's all about relevance. And especially with digital, you can kind of pin it down to the last, like if you're even if it's like a little cafe or a little location, that's the kind of the beauty.
Exactly.
And I think also it's like a double-edged sword, probably. If you use it well, then you use it well, otherwise.
Exactly. And then there have been so many examples and so many case studies from other markets and even from our own markets where small things as placements and all have created a lot of talkability and led to really fantastic results. So why not just focus on those things? Why be a Me Too? Like, and I'm sorry, I'm using a Me Too in a completely different connotation, but like, that's that's a question. That's a genuine
Right.
question. Yeah.
And for those of us who've been in the media or PR, for a few years or for a while, we know that relationship building is kind of at the core of whether you want to appear in a magazine or in a newspaper or on a blog, whether it's so
Bilkul.
what would your advice be on to startups and especially small businesses in terms of relationship building? How
Very,
can
very.
you do it without kind of being very obvious, I guess?
See, देखो, again, it's okay to be obvious as well. It's okay. Like, you're running a business. It's उसमें शर्म क्या है? ठीक है ना? It's okay to be obvious, to be really, really honest. But know who are the key people who can actually help talk about your brand and product. Like,
Right.
I'll just give you a really small example. Like, it's a Karachi-based brand, but Selena Taki with her Selena Cosmetics,
Yeah.
she's really good with that. Like, she knows her target market. She knows who she wants to talk to. She has her own direct personal relationships. She's made that effort. Like,
Right.
so even if you don't have an agency, you need to kind of be ready to, make that effort and create that connection on with the key media personnel that you feel are very critical for your brand, or key influencers who are very critical for your brand. That to me is very, very important. Otherwise, if you don't have the time and the effort, that's where the agency comes in and plays a role. Because we already have pre-existing relationships with these people.
Right.
But at the same time, every entrepreneur, everyone needs to understand about the constraints with limited media space. Everyone has that. You've been there. You're still on that side. You know that. Be it the biggest magazines, be it the biggest newspapers, everyone has a limited space,
Of
and
course.
you need to kind of learn to work around that and be like, okay, how can we collaborate? How can we create news together? How can we make this work together? And then also be respectful of the fact that, okay, if they can't do it because of whatever reasons, policies or whatever, then we take a step back and we go with someone else and we figure out, okay, would you be interested in? So don't stop hammering on that door, or don't stop pushing and nagging and trying to find a way to make it work.
Right. And if we had to kind of chalk out a process for startups or small businesses in terms of step 1, step 2, step 3, that they could follow to do some kind of PR, or like a more organized or a well thought out kind of a PR campaign, what would that be?
Understand the consumer narrative for your product. So you need to kind of remove yourself from being the founder or uh, the sort of the mother of that product or the idea, and become the person who's going to consume that product. So, and if you can't do that yourself, because it's really difficult sometimes to create that divide कि जी मेरा बेबी है तो मैं तो उसके बारे में उसकी टेढ़ी, वो महंगा भी है तो मुझे नजर नहीं आएगा, like या वो dyslexic भी है तो मुझे नजर नहीं आएगा, या if this product is meant for a certain type of know how the consumer is taking your product. So like even if the product आपने design की थी एक certain चीज के लिए, and then it ends up being for something completely different, because that's how the people are receiving it. Like you had probably made a product that was supposed to be more about giving information to for locations or just whatever, like your travel itineraries, but people are using it for something else. For example, like Google Maps ko dekh lo yaar, it was made for something else, but people are using it to check traffic updates, right? So
Yeah.
they started enhancing that side of their business. But you need to have a pulse on the consumer. Now Google is like a huge entity with thousands and thousands of people having that pulse on the consumer, but at one point that was also a startup. So you
Yeah.
need to have that consumer centric vision and that consumer centric ears, and that's what PR comes and helps you. So if that is one investment that you even have to do in terms of hiring a consultation team or hiring investing on a team, that is probably the team you need to invest on to get them on your side, to do that listening for you, to do that input for you कि भाई अगर मेरी product ऐसे है मेरे लिए तो ऐसे है उस consumer के लिए. Because if I'm looking at, like you and I are looking at my hand from a different perspective, right?
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, how you're looking at it is what matters, because you're the end consumer. How
Right.
I am seeing my lines and I'm seeing everything else, so मैं तो उस पे focus रहूंगी. So
Mm-hmm.
we tend to forget that as founders, as a startup, as people behind a startup, and that's where experts kind of come and play a role. So that's really really important. If we're not being able to understand what the consumer wants, or if we feel what we know is the best, so that is the first step. Like we don't know what's the best. We might know our product the best, but we don't know how the user is accepting it at the best. So be really really open to listening to that kind of feedback and sort of evolving with it. Second step is, yeah, knowing your key media, knowing the key people. That's extremely important. That is an exercise you need to do, because you can't really like from a founder's perspective, you need to know who is the key people, who are the key people who make a difference in your brand's life cycle or in
Right.
your product's life cycle. So you need, it's very very important. To me, I feel that's extremely critical. Third is my messaging. What is the messaging I'm giving out? How am I becoming relatable to the user? What value am I adding to their life? What difference am I making to their life? Especially if it's a new idea, and startups mostly are new ideas. So we need to kind of think, okay, yeah, if I'm asking this person to make space in their budgets, in their lives for my product or my idea, then how do I talk to them? How will I make them understand that they need me in their life? And
Mm.
who will they listen to? So these are very critical questions. Who will they listen to get me into their lives? So that is also equally important. So who is their circle of peers? Who is their circle of influencers? Which is the key buzzword these days. And then, like, because influencers are not people who put influencers on their bio on Instagram. Influencers are people who actually influence me into making a purchasing decision or considering learning about that product. Now that
Yeah.
is a person who influenced me, and that person could be anyone. And that's how the process starts. So those are the 2 3 things I feel are very important. And then once you've identified that, then you start hitting the messaging and you start talking to the people, and then you start trying to push your idea through them, because some ideas are really really technical. They take a really long time in getting a pick. Some ideas are really simple and they get really quickly picked. So it also, and you need to have a lot of patience. Oh my god, yeah.
Yeah, the patience, yes.
Yeah. And then you need to be ready and not be upset when people get it wrong, because there will be people who will get your messaging wrong. You need to be persistent, and but those are things that I feel any startup person needs to kind of have.
ठीक है. And a lot of the times we become so kind of obsessed with getting a mention on some kind of a blog or a platform, that we kind of forget कि जो हमारा business objective है behind that appearance. Like, do you want brand awareness? Do you want to increase sales? Do you want traffic on your website? What is it that you want out of your what is the outcome that you want out of that PR, right?
Exactly.
Like
Exactly.
when you do PR for films,
Yeah.
the idea is to kind of get people to the cinema to watch the film, right? Whatever
Yeah.
aspect you play on, right? So
Yeah.
how can startups kind of link their PR activities to their business objectives?
Again, that's when they need know their key users. The moment they know their target market, they need to know their bullseye. Every time I have a conversation with anyone, a startup or even brand managers, my question is, who's your bullseye? And sometimes those bullseye don't make sense, but okay, fine. That's another battle. But as long as you know your bullseye is your business objective,
Right.
because that is when your entire conversation sort of starts taking its own life and start taking its own sort of shape, and starts growing accordingly. So I think that's extremely critical. You need to know who you are trying to talk to, and then when you try, once you know who you're trying to talk to, understand them. That means are these people, like, if you're calling them tech savvy, then are they tech savvy? Are they sitting on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, akhbar, TV? Where are they sitting?
Hmm.
Are you is your messaging more towards lobbying because you're aiming to get some laws changed? Is your messaging more towards mindset changed? Then are you aiming for some perception management? Or are you aiming for trial? Then if you're aiming for trial, then can your what sort of allocation do you have to give out? Trial means you need to be ready to give out the product for free. Now the problem is that is also another battle, because, and I kind of get the startup mentality when they say कि अगर मैं already say, if my startup is just a food product, and I want people, I'm already giving you my food product to try, why should I pay you as well for that space? That's a biggest battle.
Yeah.
And that is where I kind of come, my battle, my thing always is, if you're gonna be like मुझे तो यही शख्स चाहिए, ठीक है ना, मुझे तो चाहिए कि शहाब ही बात करे मेरे प्रोडक्ट के बारे में, तो आप और शहाब को ये अंदाजा हो गया है कि आई एम दैट क्रिटिकल, और शहाब के पीछे 12 लोग लगे हुए हैं कि जी शहाब मेरे तरबूज की भी बात करे और मेरे टिंडों की भी बात करे, तो फिर शहाब विल बी लाइक, अगर मुझे इतने लोग मेरी डिमांड है तो फिर मैं तो पैसे लूंगी,
Right.
फिर मैं
Right.
खाली टिंडे और तरबूज से गुजारा नहीं करूंगी, फिर आई नो आई एम इन डिमांड, राइट?
Yeah.
So you need to always be ready to create your own influencers. Don't run with the herd. That is because that way we can always find people who will be just willing to take that product and do a trial conversation for you. Then you also need to see how authentic is that conversation going to be. So many times people, like, at least I can, and I'm sure you can as well, see through where the conversations have been paid,
Yeah.
right? They are so paid, and I'm sorry that they're like ads. Then they don't create any conversation, other than maybe create interest in 5 more agencies to run after that business.
Yeah. Yeah.
um, so you need to kind of be mindful of that you need to be subtle is always good, soft is always good. You need to be smart about your tactics and approach and your attitude, and it does not mean that you expect me to change my face color to your brand. um, as long as it's done in a very authentic manner, and a person who's talking about it really genuinely believes in it, it will
Yeah.
make a difference.
Absolutely. And you've run a lot of campaigns over the years, and you I know that you have a very extensive influencer list that you've worked very hard on building over the period of time.
And
And the
keeping
special
on
thing
giving,
about this list is that you have all these different domains, right?
yeah,
मतलब
we've
food का
specialized
कौन
our
सा
list.
है, fashion का कौन सा, so you kind of define the verticals, right? So
Yeah.
obviously a startup usually doesn't have the budgets to hire someone to do all of this. So
Yeah.
what would be kind of the process of scouting different influencers relevant, keeping an eye out, starting
Yeah.
conversations with them?
It's actually super easy. Like, Facebook has groups. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not giving you, like, I'm not giving you anything that's not out there. Facebook actually has groups. You need to softly get into those groups and start conversation. again, see if a conversation, like if you're selling Chinese food and you're on a food group like a Karachi Food Diary, and someone says, yeah, Chinese khane ka dil cha raha hai, you can always plug your product over there.
Yes.
That, but yeah, you need to be connected. If you're not investing in an agency, then you need to do this yourself.
Absolutely.
Same thing, like if you see Instagram also, like if you follow one person of a certain mindset, Instagram automatically recommends you similar accounts. They do that. So technology makes our life easier. You just need to be smart enough to look at those similar accounts and start picking. Okay, fine. I was looking for a singer and I've been recommended 5 more singers. So, okay, this singer is what fits me, then follow that person. Then you start making that effort. I think in terms of that thing, fashion people, I feel, are really, really savvy. Our startups, if anyone they can learn from is our fashion industry.
Yeah.
Especially वो जो घर से बैठ के entrepreneurial कपड़े बना रहे हैं, they would send you inbox messages कि आपको एक जोड़ा भेजना है, आप अपनी story पे लगा दीजिएगा, आप पहने ना पहने, आप बस लगा दें. So those kind of, that happens, and and they're persistent, and I have to give them credit. And some the creative ones get a lot of eyeballs, like Lahore Ink, for example, 9 Lines, for example, have been able to get a lot of eyeballs because they were doing something unique. They were creating some really interesting pieces, and really, really people with massive following also wore their stuff and shared their brand.
Yeah.
And they got eyeballs. So, persistence for sure.
Bilkul. And you've run a lot of campaigns, over the period of years. So if and there's sometimes they're straightforward, sometimes there's a lot of storytelling, a lot of mystery, kind of like a lot of build up involved, right? So how can startups use, especially the storytelling angle, and just kind of build a story around,
It's all about content now. You know it, I know it. The entire universe has evolved about content. We're only consuming content now, and it's all about being relevant through the content and the messaging that we're sharing. And how do you get into that? If, like, Coke Studio is content marketing. It's an example of Coke creating content and being part of our lives. Now, I'm not saying a startup has to do what Coke Studio is doing. Now, that's another league, but you can think in your own silo and start creating content that's relevant to your audience, and then starting to get them engaged. It's again little things, but for example, I know we're working with Lipton right now, and they're working with a lot of fitness influencers. Why? Because they have a green tea brand. Now, green tea and exercising and fitness kind of fits in comparison to, say, signing a major celebrity. This is a much more affordable way of content curation and connecting with the key customers. And that's the kind of thought, like, and trust me, startup and first place you look is your own individual circles. You don't need to go to, say, an outsider, but आपके अपने सर्कल में 4 या 5 लोग तो ऐसे होंगे जिनकी थोड़ी बहुत रीच होगी, वो किसी को जानते होंगे. So you can always start your conversations from there. It's okay to pull in a favor. बेगैरत तो होना पड़ता है startup में.
Absolutely, yes. हाँ, होना पड़ता है. Yes. बिल्कुल ठीक बात है. Yeah. अच्छा, and from all the campaigns that you've run, so many of them, what is your favorite? Whatever the reason, like if you had to kind of pinpoint 1 or 2 campaigns, that you could that could also be inspirational for startups or small businesses in terms of creativity.
See, for me, my own business has been a startup, right? Because I started from home with my laptop, and then slowly evolved. So for me, I think that startup mentality is part of our DNA as an organization, and I always love working with startups because of that reason. Because as long as it's a fantastic idea, and I feel the other person or the other team is interested in embracing it in the same way. In terms of campaigns that have really stuck around with me, I feel I've always gotten more room to play around with films than I have had with brands, because brands kind of do restrict you at a certain point in terms of the creative liberty that you can do as a PR, like the madness that you can create. So like, there've been lots in that respect. Like when we were promoting Ho Mann Jahan and we did the dub smash challenge with Chakarwanda, that's really, really precious to me. When we were doing the PR for Jaanan with three absolute unknown actors, Ali, Armina, and
I think
Bilal
that was
Ashraf.
a wonderful campaign, by the way. The response and the how many covers did you
5. That was the
5,
first time.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. 5 covers, and it was really madness. And that is what content integration is, because we took the celebrities with beautiful faces and we just said we're going to give them to you for free as long as you plug my film.
yeah,
uh, Pretty much what a startup does. We don't have the money, and after that, yeah, people started throwing money in and designers started getting involved into the
yeah.
process, and the whole madness started happening. But at that time it was literally like, ये एक प्यारा एक्टर है, आपको कपड़े पहन के बहुत प्यारा लगेगा, प्लीज अपने कवर पे डाल दें, बस वादा ये करिए कि फिल्म का नाम नीचे लिखेंगे आप.
Right.
And then just hammer Jaanan. And that's pretty. It was all earned media. Yeah, today it's all paid. Today the dynamics of films have changed. Today platforms want to be paid if they want to plug your film's names, and it's okay. It's become a business. So, but you can't keep one idea and expect it to work in the same way forever. Like
Yeah.
you need to be evolving. So like when last year we were doing Heer Manja, so we integrated with vloggers. And I don't know how many people remember, but we did that vlog with Danish Ali and that Thele Wala, where Hareem was also there.
Yeah.
Rishta Bechne Wala, and that vlog got insane eyeballs. And that was also
It
content
showed up on
integration.
my feed 2 days ago for some reason.
Yeah, okay, I don't know. Maybe they're trying to sell you rishtas, but but yeah, like Danish was kind enough to run with the idea. Ali Hareem ki to film thi, so they were anyways promoting it, and we got the vlog out, and genuinely, like you said, impacting the bottom line. Bottom line was impacted because the numbers showed a difference on that weekend when the vlog had came
Yeah.
out, because the vlog came out post the release of the film. So it's also, like I said, films always give me more room to play and experiment with ideas. So that's always fun, but it's also, we have to remember that none of the ideas is going to stick around forever. So like, just because one idea worked for me in December 2019 doesn't mean in March 2020 I will be able to copy that idea with the same costs, because someone else will monetize it, because they'll realize, oh my god, it really worked for them, why am I not charging for it? And you can't blame them because they're also running a business.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a two-way street. It's a business with business. You need to kind of keep on evolving. You need to keep on kind of experimenting. In terms of corporate campaigns, again, we've done a lot of corporate campaigns, and I don't want to pick and choose one, so I'm just gonna let it be.
Yeah. ठीक है. And
Yeah.
you've worked with a lot of celebrities as well, like Hareem, I know that has been with you for years, since the beginning of her career.
She made
So
me start the business of going into celebrity PR.
yes. So
It's a
and there's जैसे startup होती है उसके पीछे there's a founder of course, right? And to a certain extent you have to also sell the founder's story and the the personal,
very
because
much.
especially these days it's more genuine content, it's a more genuine more appealing kind of a story. So what would be some of your suggestions, given your experience with personal branding for celebrities, कि एक startup या एक small business, how can they kind of go about branding
I
themselves
feel
personally?
a founder's story has to work in parallel to the startup story.
Yeah.
Because it's extremely, your startup is like your baby. Like literally, there are so many times when I do I do say, like even today, that raising walnuts been akin to raising a baby. The only place it's not probably gone with me is like it probably doesn't cry, but it keeps me up at night. It does everything else that a newborn child does. And people with children take offense with it, but then they don't have a startup.
Yeah.
So you know, so let's learn to respect each other's spaces. But to be really honest, the founder is as much a part of the startup's DNA, and you have to be like, you know, a lot of people, a lot of times I come across people who are very, very shy, who don't want to tell their story, who want to focus on the brand and not on themselves. And that's just not doing justice to your brand.
Yeah.
You're being unfair to your brand, because no one can tell your brand story better than you can. No one can humanize your brand better than you can. And in today's time, humanizing the brand is extremely important.
Bilkul.
uh, Whether like, you know, brands like Coke and Nike and all these are struggling to humanize, and
Yeah.
a startup is already human. So
Bilkul.
why are you not cashing on one thing that works for you? Your story.
Yeah.
Why you started it, what made you do this, why, what is the personal passion behind that project? Because the kind of passion that you're going to bring in, that authenticity that you're going to bring in, no one else can bring into your brand. आप इन्फ्लुएंसर्स को लाखों रुपए भी दे दोगे ना, वो उस ऑथेंटिसिटी की बात कर ही नहीं सकते आपके ब्रांड के बारे में, जिस ऑथेंटिसिटी से आप खुद करोगे और
बिल्कुल.
जो स्टोरी टेलिंग आप करोगे. तो यू हैव टू बी रेडी. जब आपने स्टार्टअप बना ली ना, तो भाई बी रेडी टू गो ऑन द फ्रंट एंड फाइट फॉर इट एंड like, you know, pitch it.
Then you're all in, you know. If you're in, you're
Then you're
like
all
all
in.
in, you know. Yeah.
Then you're all in. There is no going back. There is no being shy about it. Then you have to go all in and do everything you need to do to make it work for you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so now we will take a few questions.
Yeah.
Salma is asking that she got almost 10 celebrities numbers, sent them PR packages, only 2 responded after using the product, and they responded on text messages. When she requested them for video testimonials or to share feedback on their Instagram, Facebook page, they were like, okay, we charge 50,000 to 1 lakh rupees. So
It's
she
true.
wants to know how to, you know, kind of create. I know we've been over this a bit, but I think
Same thing. It's the same thing. They can, again, unless someone is personally known to you, unless someone is extremely, no matter how kind and generous they are, I have seen their inboxes are flooded with these messages. So if they
yeah,
don't monetize it, uh, again, ईदी फाउंडेशन तो कोई सेलिब्रिटी भी नहीं चला रहा, तो उन्होंने भी अपनी रोजी रोटी कमानी है.
exactly.
And they know you are a commercial brand and product as well. So they will be going out of the way and being nice to 1 or 2 or 3. But then if they start making a project and a life about it, managers like me are going to kill them over.
Of
कि भाई तुम लोग
course.
क्या कर, yeah, because
Yeah.
listen, it's a revenue stream for them. So that is what I said earlier, that just because you feel कि अगर आयशा उमर ने मेरी प्रोडक्ट पहन ली तो बस फिर तो मैं सेल आउट हो जाऊंगी, तो इट्स नॉट नेसेसरी. थिंक स्मॉल एज वेल. अगर कर ली, ग्रेट, ठीक है, that's a gamble you're taking. So when you
Yeah.
send your product to 10 celebrities, you took a gamble, and you never know if they got your product and if they really liked it, they might be seen wearing it and posting it on their timeline
Yeah.
at some random timeline where you can pick it up and promote it.
Yeah.
But you know, they are not obliged to, because they're not, it's not a commercial transaction. The only point they will get obliged to do it is when there's a commercial transaction. और आजकल तो influencers इतने पैसे ले रहे हैं, आप बेचारे
बिल्कुल.
celebrity को क्या blame करते हो? So
Exactly.
like, you know, you need to find your own set of people who again can genuinely talk about your product, and that lies in your peer circle, in your friend circle, and then next step is, of course, you need to start looking at people beyond your peer circle who you feel laterally. So it might not be a celebrity, but it might be someone जिसको कोई मुंह नहीं लगा रहा हो, लेकिन आपके followers उसको बड़ा respect करते हो. And you reach out to them and you say, "Okay, yaar, what do you think?" It could be a stylist, it could be through, like, you know, because it could be through someone else. Like, I'm assuming it's a fashion product, but if it is it's a food product as well. You look at
Skincare
laterally.
hers is, yeah.
Skincare is, so again, like, you know, a lot of people don't even want to tell them, like, they want to flaunt off that they're using all Paris ki products. So ye bhi to bade you have to understand where they're coming from.
Yeah.
So maybe working with real people is your way forward, and lower investment. Unfortunately, ये celebrities की भी bread and butter है.
And you know, I think एक genuine connection, you know, एक genuine connection ऐसे उनसे बेहतर है 8-10 लोगों से, you know, who you're sending
बिल्कुल
stuff to and they're kind of not posting, you know, because it's
बिल्कुल
also a trade-off of, you know, you're sending free products, obviously उसकी कोई cost तो आपको पड़ रही है ना, you could be selling those products,
एग्जैक्टली
right?
आई कंप्लीटली अंडरस्टैंड दैट कि आपकी और बट लोगों को ये बात का अंदाजा नहीं होता कि एक स्टार्टअप कितनी बूटस्ट्रैप्ड होती है. तो like you need to be ready, like as a PR agency, when we were a startup, the only thing we could give out was free services. So but I couldn't give out free services to everyone, so we had to pick our places where we could give out free services, and the rest we would be like, okay, we can charge you a nominal amount, or okay, we can waive it off as this, but we want this. So you need to kind of make it a business transaction at some point.
Exactly. And I
Yeah,
think there should also be kind of, you know, clarity when you're corresponding shuru mein with any
yeah.
influencer or celebrity or even common insan कि दोनों side से expectations kind of क्या है, you know, कि okay, I'll do this for you and, you know, in return, you know, maybe you can do
Will you
this,
be able to do this?
right?
And if they say no, we won't be able to do this, and I say this for a lot of people कि
Exactly.
देखो ये नहीं करेंगे, वो शायद स्टोरी पे लगा दें. अगेन अगर आपके पास उनकी लाइफ है इतनी क्रेजी होती है, एक एक सेलिब्रिटी ड्रामा शूट कर रहा होता है सुबह 10 बजे से रात में 10 बजे तक, तो इसका मतलब वो 8 बजे उठते हैं, तैयार होते हैं, शूट पे जाते हैं, रात में 10 बजे जब वो घर आते हैं तो मर कप चुके होते हैं,
Mm-hmm.
खाना वाना खाते हैं, फिर वो सो जाते हैं. सो नाउ दैट इज अ नॉर्मल टीवी एक्टर्स लाइफ.
Yeah,
It's not very glamorous, it's really hardcore hard labor. So
exactly.
उसमें अक्सर उनको अनबॉक्सिंग का टाइम भी नहीं मिलता है. वो उनकी मासियां उठा के एक अलमारी में ठूस देती हैं और वो कोई 6 महीने बाद निकलते हैं, तो उनको अरे यार ये सारा सामान भी पड़ा है, तो उस वक्त तक वो आपका तो बोर्ड सेल हो चुका होता है.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to kind of like be aware of these kind of things as well, and maybe not, like I said, not look at those people, look at someone else.
Yeah, yeah. And you know, I know a lot of influencers who are happy to, you know, especially female influencers who are happy to promote female led businesses without any charge, you know.
बिल्कुल बिल्कुल
मतलब वो
बिल्कुल.
आपको कहते हैं कि because, you know,
Find your peg, know your pegs.
yeah,
If you're a female-led business, then that's a peg. Then look at every opportunity where female-led businesses are being talked about, and then that is where you as your founder's story comes in. If your product is a skincare or a beauty product, then look at any place or any place where beauty conversations are happening. People
exactly.
will talk about skincare issues. Like you go on all these Facebook groups, people will talk about skincare issues. Don't go and just say mera sabun kharid lo ya meri cream kharid lo. You genuinely start a conversation with them. That's what PR is. The difference between PR and direct plug is you start a conversation कि यार अच्छा तुम्हारी स्किन में क्या प्रॉब्लम है, पिगमेंटेशन है, एक्नी है, अच्छा एक्नी है, कब से है, किस तरह से है, फैमिली है, ये वो. So when you start this conversation, people open up and you find your window to
Yeah,
swoop in and sell your product. But you make it really, really genuine, and you make it about the other person. That's extremely important. You may have to make it about the customer or the influencer.
because you know they have to understand what they're kind of getting out of it, you know, even if it's not money, you know, otherwise
Yeah,
उनको क्या मिलेगा उस चीज के अंदर से, you know.
exactly. So you need to, and then with celebrities especially, it's a really, really big ask.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, and then someone has just, you know, kind of commented okay, acha, okay, so I also have another question. You know, given this whole scenario with the, you know, lockdown and everything, um how do you think you know, digital marketing or influencer marketing in particular actually is kind of going to evolve, you know, because some people
So
are
it's
laying off
grown,
people and, you know, some
grown.
people are
I
going big, so
I would, yeah. So okay, so two things have happened. One, influencer bubble is kind of burst because everyone's in a lockdown. So how many pictures of my cool life can I share from the four walls of my house? Uh, so that has happened, and a lot of like memes and stuff has started floating around that, oh, my marriage is not so perfect anymore and stuff like that. And I'm not being sarcastic, but there's a lot of pretend to be cool in the influencer culture as well. The filters don't help. So the reality bubble is also burst. People are now have no choice but to show who they are really,
yeah,
and sort of start accepting who they are really. And at the same time, digital consumption has gone up tremendously. So this is the time to sort of throw your content out there. If you are um, it's not the time to sell your product. No one is interested in buying right now. overall buying and retail and everything has gone down. I was just watching CNN before this, and they were saying that I think JC Penney has filed for bankruptcy because business is so bad. It was bad and bad, but then when this happened, it just
yeah,
every, they just couldn't sustain it beyond this. So the bubbles are bursting, but people who have the financial strength, or even if you don't, this is the time to build your brand equity through
absolutely.
conversations, through narratives, through kindness, through empathy. PR gives you the room to do all these things, I feel, where you can be empathetic, where you can be kind, where you can talk to people, where you can converse with people and create a connection. So I feel this is the time to sort of build that relationship, humanize your brand, build a relationship with your customer, with your audience, with your target market, so that people kind of be like, okay, they were there for me at this time. And they share your content, and they share what you're saying, so that in the long run, when it's time to monetize, you have built a loyal customer base. I see
Right.
fitness people doing this a lot. They started off, as soon as this whole lockdown happened, the fitness people started putting in like these free videos of workouts and classes and sessions and things like that. And then slowly they've now evolved to paid Zoom sessions and everything. But they built an audience, they built
Yeah.
a demand, created a niche, and then they've slowly now evolved it to a monetized model where they're charging people to come to their yoga sessions and Pilates sessions and everything. If they can do it, so can you. You just need to find if you're out of, unless and until you're a salon selling manicures and pedicures. But again, it's okay if you're losing business. Maybe this is the time where you build your loyalty and be like, okay, what? I'm sending you a home manicure kit with a step-by-step solution. Why don't you do your own manicure this
I
month?
think
I
Amina Z Salon actually did that facial thing, right?
Acha,
She's
okay,
been
I didn't know
sending,
that. Yeah.
matlab,
I thought
a home
Amna ne aaj
facial. Yes,
yeah,
yes, yes.
yeah, yeah. So this is your time where you can kind of, I understand it's going to be a cost. I understand people are not going to buy it, but maybe first month they might not buy it. Next month they would be like, you know what, you sent me was really good. How much will you sell it for?
Yeah.
So, because again, this is not a short term lockdown. We're all stuck in our houses for a really long time. And people like me who are super paranoid, I'm not stepping out anytime soon. So, um,
Yeah.
it is what it is, and you need to kind of figure out new streams, new ways of connecting with your customers. You have the phone numbers, you have the email addresses. Talk to them, hear them out, solve their problems, come to their rescue, because even if it's coming out of your pocket while there is no income, in the long run, that coming to the rescue will give you good positive word of mouth.
And I think this is actually the perfect time to build relationships, because
Exactly.
business ki roz ki, day to day ke andar, you don't have the time to kind of work on your marketing or your relationship building, or your list building. Okay, I have these regular customers, maybe I should check in on them, ask them if they
Exactly.
need anything. So this is kind of the perfect time to do all of that.
It is. And just again, do little things. Trust me, little things do matter. They count. I ordered something yesterday from some place who had these homemade food products, and they just sent me a box of Halim as a trial. And then they just sent me a message, all I want is your feedback.
Right.
And I was like, oh, that's really sweet. Like, not that I've given the feedback yet, but I remember, I still remember to talk about it right now. And
Yes,
me talking
yes.
about it right now is earned PR for them. uh that's the point. And if the Halim's really good, you never know, I might even post it on my social media and recommend it to people.
Exactly.
And that's how they generate their business. Now that is a home entrepreneur selling kebabs and rolls and Halim now at home. And that's how they're growing their business, because people are paranoid right now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Amazing. Okay. Thank you, Samra. I think we don't have any
Pleasure.
questions anymore, but it was a pleasure having you and
It was
speaking
a
to you
pleasure
as
being here.
always. And
In
thank you so much. If there are any other questions, that people send me later on, I'll ask you and just post them somewhere. And
done. Or I'll
thank
just
you.
come send the link and I'll answer under it.
Yes,
You're
yes, done.
sharing it with time. Done.
Yes,
Done.
yes. Thank you
Done.
everyone
Done.
for watching. And until next time, take care. Khuda Hafiz. Bye bye, Samra.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.